Today in Luther's Kitchen, we're making banana cream pie. And this pie recipe has 3 important dessert elements. And if you master these dessert elements, you can create so many different cool desserts. So the first element is basic pie dough. This is a basic pie dough that really produces consistent results. So to begin with, we're pulsing together 1 1/4 cups all-purpose flour with a half a teaspoon of kosher salt. Now it's time to add 1 stick or 1/2 cup of super cold unsalted butter cut into a small dice. And you want to mix this just until there are large crumbles that form, so big pieces of butter that are covered with flour. Do not overmix. Now adding super cold water is key. And my recipe calls for 1/4 cup, but you may not use all 1/4 cup, so it's best to add it tablespoons at a time. So we always start with about 3 tablespoons, and we let the machine roll for a little bit, and if the dough doesn't look like it's coming together, you can add that last tablespoon to make a total of 1/4 cup. It's really critical that at this point you do not overmix this dough because the heat of the machine will melt the butter and you will not get a good pie dough. So here you can see the dough has come together close to the blade. You want to carefully remove it. You don't want to cut yourself on the blade, and you want to put it on a piece of parchment paper. And you want to make like a large, flat, fat disc. After you've formed it into the disc, you want to use the paper to cover it, and you want to refrigerate this for at least a couple hours before you roll it out. The second dessert element that we are going to need for our banana cream pie is pastry cream. But this pastry cream is going to be quite firm. We want to be able to slice the pie without having the filling ooze out everywhere. So to begin with, we're heating 2 1/2 cups of milk with a 1/2 cup of sugar and just a 1/4 teaspoon of kosher salt. You want to heat that so the sugar dissolves. You want to make sure you don't burn the milk, and you don't want it to come to a boil either. So you're heating it until the sugar dissolves and you get little bubbles forming around the edge. Now in a large bowl, whisk together 1 tablespoon of flour, 1/4 cup cornstarch, 4 egg yolks, and the remaining 1/2 cup of milk. So it's 3 cups milk total, but we already put 2 1/2 in the pot, and now we are adding the remaining 1/2 cup milk. We'll whisk it well. It's time to temper the eggs. So you want to pour just a little bit of that hot milk mixture in, and by little I mean like maybe a 1/4 cup at a time while you continually whisk. Keep going, 1/4 cup at a time. You don't want to make scrambled eggs, so you want to introduce the hot liquid to the egg mixture slowly. So once you've done about a cup of it, you can pour the rest of it in and continue whisking. Then you want to take that mixture from the bowl and pour it through a sieve or a strainer back into the pot so that you can cook it until the mixture thickens, and it needs to be really thick, like really thick. So pour that through a sieve. You want to get any little particles that have formed out because you want to have a nice clean and smooth pastry cream. It's really important that you continue to whisk while you're heating this back up to a low boil. You want the pastry cream to become very thick, like pudding that's already been chilled. So continue whisking. You don't want lumps, and you definitely don't want to burn it. This will probably take another 5 minutes. 5 minutes later, look how lusciously thick that is. At this point, you want to transfer this to a bowl, and you want to plastic wrap it so that the plastic touches the top of this pastry cream so that it doesn't form a skin as it cools. Oh, but before you wrap it, make sure you drop in some vanilla extract. So we're using a teaspoon of pure vanilla extract and a couple tablespoons of unsalted butter. So at this point you can take it off the heat and continue whisking that. The butter will melt because the custard is hot. So pour that mixture in a bowl, plastic wrap it well, and refrigerate for at least 3 hours so that it firms up before you put it in your pie shell. To our pie shell, we want to preheat our oven to 350 degrees, take the dough out of the refrigerator, and begin rolling it on a piece of parchment paper. From there, it's so easy to transfer the pie dough into the pie plate. And this is an 8-inch round pie plate, but I always seem to have extra leftover dough. So you can just refrigerate it, put it back into that piece of paper, or you can put it in the freezer and use it for a little mini pie. I'm going to trim the excess dough, and I'm going to fill in any areas that don't have dough to get a nice clean pie crust. And now we're poking it with the tines of a fork. We're using that same piece of parchment paper so that we can line this with black beans. These are the same beans I bake with all the time, over and over and over again. And I'm putting that in a 350 degree oven for about 20 minutes to blind bake. After 20 minutes, I take the pie weights out, or those black beans out in the paper, and I put it back in the oven for another 8 to 10 minutes. Now we're gonna make some whipped cream. So this is like the third dessert element. Everybody should know how to make whipped cream. It's not complicated, and it's so much better than buying it in the can. So we're combining heavy whipping cream with pure vanilla extract and confectioner's sugar. And you just want to get everything whipped up so that stiff peaks form, so that we can pipe our beautiful banana cream pie with this whipped cream that is whipping. Now we're going to thinly slice 2 bananas, and you want to use ripe bananas that are just about to turn brown. You don't want to use any bananas with green tips because they won't be sweet enough. So you want a lot of banana flavor in your banana cream pie. Our pie crust has cooled, so we're going to add 1 layer of sliced bananas to the bottom before applying half of that pastry cream. You can see it's super thick, which is great. It's still spreadable, but it's awesome because when you go to slice the pie, it'll stay nice and intact, which is exactly what you want. So spread it out, and then we're going to put another layer of those sliced bananas. We're just going to repeat the process and top it with another layer of pastry cream. Now if you want to get fancy, you can put your whipped cream in a pastry bag fitted with a star tip, and you want to roll that around your pie and make some kind of pretty decorative edge. We piped the entire pie. If you don't have a pastry bag, you could always just put all the whipped cream on top and use an offset spatula to make some kind of pattern of your liking. We're going to top this with some toasted sliced almonds. So to do that, I took a 1/4 cup of sliced almonds and I just heated them in a dry saute pan just until they started to smell, until I could smell them over medium-high heat. They burn very quickly, so you've got to watch it like a hawk. So it shouldn't take more than like 3 to 4 minutes. Let them cool first before you put them on your whipped cream. And this banana pie is ready to eat like this, or you can pop it back in the fridge for about an hour before slicing and serving. For this recipe and more, please visit myclasscancook.com.